In a dark, scary forest, hidden within the hollow of an ancient scary tree, 3 scary fairies gather to discuss scary movies. This week's feature is a recent tale from 2025, or depending on who you ask, 2024, entitled Presence. Now, let's meet our fairy hosts.
If there's only 0.005 centimeters between life and death, then you bet my skinny ass is sliding through. I'm Hannah.
I'm Evan. My relationship with my son isn't complicated. It's Oedipus complex.
I'm Matty, and the only present you'll get from me is my presence. And we are the Scary Fairies. Hello, fellow fairy friends, and welcome to the podcast. Today, we are discussing presents from the year 2024, or if you ask me, 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sure it was 2025, and then I looked and it said 2024, and I said, who, what?
Who did?
Stupid.
And it was like a
this?
year ago it came out in like Sundance.
Yeah,
They,
it
held
played
it for a
one
year.
festival. It played one screening.
For like a year ago, and they held it. I was like, all right. But I'm like, whatever. I'm counting it this year.
Yeah, no, I'm
Same.
counting it as this year too. January is a month in 2025.
That's
That's when
facts.
it came out. This is facts.
I agree. So I have a topic for you. Well, actually, this is Evan's topic. So
Yeah.
Evan has a topic
Stolen
for
valor.
us today.
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor from Evan.
Yeah. If you were a ghost, where would you haunt?
Hannah, do you want to start?
Yeah, I would fully haunt that Oval Office and just be a fly
Oh.
on the wall.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, you don't want to.
No.
Yeah, it sounds horrible, but I just want to know what's going on. And then if I could have, like, abilities, like, to warn my friends,
Mm.
then yeah, I would figure that out.
There's gonna be lots of ghosts in the White House when you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's probably tons of ghosts there,
Lots of skeletons in the closets, if you know what I mean.
literally.
mm-hmm.
Oh. How about you, Matty? What would you haunt?
I'd want it to be a building that wouldn't be, like, demolished for a very long time. Because presumably once the building's gone, you're gone with it too, right?
I wonder. Yeah,
Are you?
So, I don't know.
Unless you
maybe-
haunt a person.
it's even
Yeah.
shorter shelf life though, because then
Yeah,
once they're gone, you're not hunting them anymore.
that's true. Unless you're hunting an immortal.
Yeah. Oh, so vampire. You want to hunt?
Yeah, if you're
You wanna
haunting a
haunt
vampire.
Vampire.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd go with like a skyscraper, maybe the maybe one World Trade Center building. Just because lots of different things to see,
Lots of
probably a lot of
floors.
changeover, lots of
Yeah.
new people.
Lots of offices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Evan?
I always say like a theater, so either a movie theater or a like performing arts theater. I think would be a good place to haunt. Go like
Free
full
shows all the
Phantom.
time.
Yeah, free
Yeah.
shows,
Hmm.
free movies, or a lot of different stuff to see. A lot of different people to haunt.
Love it. All right. Well, let's start with our first segment. It came from the queue.
Came from the queue.
Where we discuss the scary stuff we've been up to. Let's start with you, Evan.
Yeah. So this week I picked up a new comic, the first issue of it. It's called The Lucky Devils. It's by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. They did another comic I liked recently called 8 Billion Genies. And the premise of that one was that everyone on Earth gets a genie and one wish, and kind of chaos ensues because the world just kind of blows up like right away because people wish for insane things. This is their new series. So far, not a lot's happened because it was just the first issue and it's very introductory. So you meet like this kind of 2 down and out people. One's like a college professor, one is a nurse. And then towards the middle of it, they get home and then there's like a personal devil for each of them. And it seems like your devil is trying to corrupt you at all times. And so they're kind of making them have bad days to try to make them kind of flip out and go evil. And by the end of the first issue, they're like, let's strike a deal and work with us and actually just agree to be evil, and we'll help each other out and help us rise in power. So but I really like the artwork in it, and I really like the writer, so I'm looking forward to more of it.
Cool.
Yeah. And how about you, Matty? What have you been watching lately?
So I've had a pretty slim week besides the movie we're discussing today, but I did start watching the new Goosebumps television series, Goosebumps The Vanishing.
Yeah.
Which is separated out as a completely different show on Disney Plus from the first season, but it seems to be the second season.
Yeah. I was confused about that because, I thought it was like a one-off thing, but apparently it is like serialized, right? And it's more...
Well, it's
a second issue.
It's like American Horror Story.
Mm-hmm.
It seems where the seasons are like self-contained.
Okay.
But maybe exist in the same universe.
Okay.
So it's like American Horror Story for kids. It's fun. It's got David Schwimmer in it.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh, interesting.
Is it related to the books? Like, are they pulling from the old books?
Yeah, so, and it's kind of like the first season in that way, where the plots are taken directly from the books, but instead of being about, like, 11 or 12-year-old kids, it's about teenagers. So it kind of takes the stories and makes them a little bit older.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you, Hannah?
Well, I watched, this week I watched Abigail for the first time. I had not seen that one. Oh, so great. I was watching Horror Greats on, Shudder as well. And they recommended that movie, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. And vampire ballerina girl destroying everybody in a house. That was pretty fucking great. And then I also watched The Blackcoat's Daughter. That I watched last week, but I forgot to put in for our for our run. But I really enjoyed it. But I wish that my TV wasn't so shitty because it was very darkly lit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see what she was doing in front of the broiler until I Wikipedia'd it in the end and was like, oh, okay. That makes sense because there was a lot of visual stuff that I feel like I missed just because there was such a huge, number one, there was such a huge glare on my TV because I watched it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like you do. And then just my TV blows dick. Really liked both of those. Blackcoat's Daughter especially.
Yeah, I like Blackcoat's Daughter. It's it's Osgood Perkins, the same director as...
Oh, is it? Okay.
Long Legs.
In the upcoming
And The Monkey.
And the
I'm
upcoming
really looking forward to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move on to Similar Screams, where we discuss other movies like the one we just watched.
Similar Screams.
Today, let's talk about our favorite ghost/haunted house movies. And I will start. My favorite ghost/haunted house movie maybe is a little bit of a cheat because it's more of a demon and a haunted person, but it's Insidious. This is kind of spoilers for Insidious. They think in the first half of the movie that it's a haunted house, but they move and the demon follows them and they find out that it's actually the little boy that's haunted. They give that away in the trailer, though, so I don't feel so bad spoiling it. That's one of my favorite horror movies. It's also a PG-13, so, it's one of the best PG-13 horror movies, in my opinion. And then another one is The Others with Nicole Kidman, which is a fantastic haunted house movie about this family and this kind of really overbearing mom who runs the household and can't get anyone to work for her, and this group of people who come to work for them, and her eccentricities, and the children are, putting up with their mother, and things start going weird. I love that movie.
I should rewatch it. I haven't watched it since it came out, and I feel like I didn't give it a fair shake the first time around because it came out pretty shortly after Sixth Sense, which I'll talk about later. Yeah. And I feel like I was like, oh, they're just doing a Sixth Sense thing. But I should rewatch it because everyone says great things about it, and I feel like I need to give it another fair shake.
It's good. It's aged well.
Yeah.
I feel. I watched it like a year or two ago, and I still really love it.
Yeah.
Hannah, what are some of your favorite ghost movies?
One that came to my mind immediately was Poltergeist. I really enjoy that one. It's a movie about haunted house and a girl that kind of is a conduit for that haunting, which is great. I also really enjoyed The Conjuring, which, again, I don't know if that's a haunted house movie, more of a haunted person movie, but, I mean, the hide and clap thing freaked me out so much when I watched it. And so that stuck with me quite a lot, and I enjoy that movie, too. So, Evan, what about you, bud?
Yeah, well, I mentioned it before, but one of my favorite movies, period, is The Sixth Sense. I just love that movie. And it always holds a high place in my heart. So love The Sixth Sense. And then another movie that specifically this week's movie made me think of was A Ghost Story by David Lowery.
Yes.
That came out in 2017. Yeah. Very,
not as good as this movie, I will say. I enjoyed Ghost Story, but I like this movie more.
Yeah, but it's also doing something different. I feel like it's really not going for horror. It's more just like, what if you were a ghost and how lonely and sad would that be? But similar vibes and kind of an interesting take on A Ghost Story. And then also, it's a TV show, not a movie, but Haunted at... sorry, I always get the words confused. But Haunting of Hill House. I like a lot. The Mike Flanagan Netflix series. He's done a couple of them, but that one in particular I like. And again, the way it kind of handles ghost and the idea of being haunted. I thought some of those themes carry over to this week's movie a little bit.
Yeah, I love the book that show is based on. Shirley Jackson is one of my favorite authors. All right, now I want to play a game.
Oh, God.
Hello, fairies. I want to play a game.
This game is called Horror or Nar.
Yeah.
Where I ask the both of you fairies, has the director directed a horror movie or not? So horror, they've directed a horror movie. Nar, they have not directed a horror movie.
Okay.
I'll take both of your answers and let's switch off who goes first. Okay. And Hannah, you can go first since Evan won my last game.
Oh, I'm gonna lose. I don't know what directors do things.
I have 2 movies for each director. At least 2 movies I will give you to give you an idea of who they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So first is Barry Levinson, who did Good Morning Vietnam, Rain Man, and the Robin Williams early 90s movie Toys. Has he directed a horror movie? And bonus points if you can tell me if they have what it is.
Oh, God. I don't know. Toys is a weird movie. I would say horror. But I no bonus points.
I'll say no, even though part of my back of my head, I think there's like an early 90s, maybe weird ghost story that he did, but I'll say Nar.
I was going to correct you on...
Sorry.
You said no at first. It's not horror or no.
No, that doesn't rhyme. That's insane.
He did direct a horror movie. He directed The Bay from, I think, 2011, 2013 era.
Oh,
is that BAE?
Yes.
My Bay.
Bay. It's about a killer bay.
It's about Salt Bay, who died in...
No, it's a found footage movie about a bay that has an infestation of these parasites that grow inside you and eat you from the inside out.
Ew.
Yucky.
Okay, let's start with Evan on this question.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Bigelow, who did movies like Point Break and The Hurt Locker.
I will say Nar. She did a vampire movie, I believe, but not a ghost movie.
This is horror movie. This is horror movie.
Then I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say Yar. Is that part of it?
Yar.
Horror then, yes, because she did do a vampire movie, and I can't pull the title of it, but I believe she did a vampire movie.
Hannah, do you think Evan is playing a weird mind game with you? What do you think?
I don't think Evan doesn't play mind games with me. I'm going to say yes, horror.
You are both correct. Because Evan was very adamant that
Evan
he
was
was
super
right.
adamant, yeah.
I don't know if you've played a game before, Evan, but that's you might want to use a little bit more strategy.
No.
But you do get bonus points if you can tell me what it is.
It's called like the something ones or something.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay.
It's called Near Dark, and it's very good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so Hannah has 2 points. Evan has 1 point.
Yeah.
Hannah, we'll start with you. Bob Clark, who did movies such as Baby Geniuses and Super Babies Baby Geniuses 2.
Oh my god. Baby geniuses. I'm gonna say Nor.
Okay, Evan.
Yes. Didn't he do Black Christmas?
That's 2 points for Evan.
Yes.
Oh, fuck, I forgot that. I knew it was in the back of my mind. Like, I
know because of the Baby Genius thing, which is insane that he did that.
Yeah.
Also, I think we should count that as a horror movie. So you kind of gave it
terrifying.
away.
If a baby could talk,
Yeah.
Like a young
Horrifying.
baby, don't like it.
So that's 3 points for Evan, 2 points for Hannah.
Yes.
Evan, you're up first now.
Yeah.
Robert Redford, who has done films such as A River Runs Through It and Quiz Show.
I'll say Nar.
Okay, Hannah.
I'll also say Nar.
You're both correct. It is Nar. All right, now Hannah. Oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Apologies.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
No, sorry.
Greta Gerwig? Gerta Gerger.
Alan Smithy. No, it's Luca Guadagnino.
You did it. You nailed it.
Thank you. Who did movies such as Call Me By Your Name and Challengers. Who did we start with, Evan or Hannah?
Hannah's turn.
My turn. I'm going to say Nor.
All right, Evan.
I'm gonna say yes, horror. He did that cannibal one, but I can't pull the title of it. But I think it's horror, but I don't know if it's actually horror.
How do you know this?
Because I have no life, Hannah. That's how I know this.
Evan gets a point. He did not get the name. There's actually 2 answers I would have
Okay.
accepted.
What's the other? Yeah, what are they?
The Suspiria remake and Bones and All.
Oh, that's right. The Suspiria remake.
Dude, I
forgot.
just started watching Suspiria, the original, today.
Oh, it's a good one.
I've never seen it, so.
All right, next, starting with you, Evan. So I think we're at Evan's at 4, Hannah's at 2.
God.
You can take it home, Hannah.
Take it home, Hannah.
So. I don't know.
Woody Allen.
Oh, God. No. I don't want him in the show.
I'm sorry, it's what's on the paper. I can't.
He can't help it. Talk about horror story. Am I right?
Yeah, fuck.
Well, I'll say Nar.
Okay.
I will also say Nar, because I don't think he's got the balls.
All of his movies are horror movies. No, sorry, it's Nar.
Yeah.
That is Nar. And the last one, starting with Hannah. So we're 4-2. Hypothetically, you could tie, Hannah. So let's see. Richard Donner, who did films such as Superman and Lethal Weapon.
I don't know any other films that this man has done, so horror.
Okay. Evan?
I'll say Nar.
This one goes to Hannah.
Yeah!
Wow. And if you can get the name of it, Hannah, you can tie it up.
Oh, no.
I'll give you a hint. It is the first movie in a series that you just watched a movie of recently.
Is it VHS?
No.
No, damn it.
It is old. It's from the 70s.
Oh, I thought you meant it was the movie old. I was like, no, he didn't direct.
M. Night Shyamalan is Richard Donner.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not.
It's The Omen. Richard Donner directed The Omen.
Oh, okay. All right. I did like the Omen, the new Omen movie. That was pretty good.
It was good.
Very good.
All right, now let's talk about our movie of the week, which is Presents. We already discussed the issue with what year it was released. We are saying 2025.
Yeah.
I also, just with the whole dates thing, when we went to go see Presents, there was a trivia question beforehand that said, what 2024 film is this screenshot from? And it was from Wolfman.
What?
But Wolfman is
Yeah.
most assuredly not 2024.
No.
Can't
That
be.
didn't do any festivals or anything. That just came
Very
out in
odd.
2025. So
Yeah.
they're, just gaslighting us left and right.
Yes.
The director of this film is Steven Soderbergh, who has had an extensive career. This is his first and only horror film, which is why I made that game. At 26 years old, Steven Soderbergh became the youngest solo director to win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival for his film Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Have either of you seen that movie?
No, I have not.
Sure haven't. No.
I saw it when I was too young, and I remember loving it.
Well, I love all three of those things, so I should watch it.
I like Lies the most.
Yeah, I'll have to rank them. F, Marry, Kill, Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Well, I'm fucking Videotape. Marrying Sex and Killing Lies.
Mm-hmm.
Other notable Steven Soderbergh movies are Aaron Brockovich and Traffic, which came out in the same year, and he was one of the only directors to ever be nominated twice in the Best Director category in the same year.
That's crazy.
And
yeah.
he
Wow.
won for Traffic. He did Oceans 11, 12, and 13, and he did Magic Mike's 1 and 3.
Did he really? He didn't do the second one?
He was like, I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah, I thought he was all three. That's funny.
He did a George Lucas for the second
Yeah.
one. So.
Yeah, I double checked it. It's
Yeah.
not him. So for this movie, Presence, he did a lot of things besides directing. One of which being the cinematography, which he is credited as Peter Andrews, which is a synonym he's used since Sex, Lies, and Videotape, because of Writers Guild rules. Apparently, he can't be the cinematographer on movies he directs
Interesting.
or writes. I don't know, something
yeah,
weird.
there's some weird guild rules.
Yeah.
Doesn't he edit it too? Or are you gonna
Yes.
get there? Yeah, that's crazy.
No, this is the end of my Steven Soderbergh facts.
Yeah, yeah.
The writer of this movie is David Coep, who is the 9th most successful screenwriter of all times in terms of U.S. box office receipts, with a total gross of over $2.3 billion. Part of that is probably because he wrote Jurassic Park. 1 and 2, and the new one coming out.
Okay.
He also wrote Death Becomes Her, Mission Impossible, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and the Tom Cruise Mummy film.
Yeesh.
Every week we get back to the dark universe.
I know.
I
The
love
Dark
it.
Universe is
We
stalking
always-
us.
It's
hanging
never
over the podcast.
never letting us go.
It's
never
haunting
should.
us like a presence. He's also directed some movies, Mr. Coep. He directed Stir of Echoes, Secret Window, and the Joseph Gordon-Levitt bike movie Premium Rush.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And Secret Window's the Johnny Depp one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have that on
I have seen that.
VHS.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
I don't remember it at all.
The budget of this film was only $2 million, so it was
Wow.
a cheap boy. It received good reviews from critics upon release, but audiences not so much. Do you two know what the cinema score is?
Yeah, I've heard of
Evan,
it.
why don't you explain the cinema score?
Oh God, I don't know if I can explain it very well. But it's basically they pull audience as they are leaving a show, or I don't know if it's more like curated than that. But I know they like basically pull audiences leaving and to give it a grade between like A and F, and then they kind of take the average and then release the cinema score of it. But it's like famously really hard to get like a full F. Like it's always kind of makes headlines when a movie gets a full F cinema score, because that means that people really hated it.
Yeah.
And same with like A. I feel like A is harder to get. Usually it's like in the middle.
It's usually like B plus territory.
Yeah.
Okay.
This movie got a C plus, which isn't great.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that, because like sometimes it has to do with expectations versus what the movie actually is.
Yeah,
and,
what the movie offers.
and the
yeah.
way they're kind of advertising this movie is a little misleading, I
Yeah,
would say.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's telling you that it's going to creep the shit out of you.
Yeah, they went really like the
But-
long legs route, and it's not
Yeah.
that at all, really.
Mhm.
Well, and I even heard tell of like people walked out at at whatever Sundance or wherever it premiered, like because it was too scary. I'm like, having watched the movie, I don't know when they would have
No
walked out
way.
unless it was
No.
like the teen getting drugged to be raped.
That was the most horrifying
that
moment.
was really rough. I did not like that.
That was the hardest part,
Yeah.
This was financed independently, like a lot of Steven Soderbergh films. He tends to make big Hollywood films and then a bunch of like little films that he wants to do. And it only took 11 days to shoot.
That's crazy. Especially with the amount of, it's all oneers, but it's like meaning one long takes, but the amount of choreography and exact timing that had to go into it, you'd think it'd take longer. So it's pretty impressive.
All right, now let's go into our thoughts about this movie. Hannah, did you like it, and would you recommend it?
I did like it, and I would recommend it. I enjoyed just kind of the meditation that this movie is on grief and death. And I liked that the camera also, like in Black Christmas, was a character, which was very interesting the whole way through. And I really did enjoy it. It wasn't a movie that totally had me like screaming like the entire time. But it definitely had me engaged. Evan?
Yeah, I agree. I really had a good time. It was different, like we said, from what I was expecting. I thought, this is going to be a really creepy paranormal activity, jump scare movie, and it's not that at all. Because you are the ghost essentially throughout the movie, because the camera is the ghost. It's more, just a kind of slice of life in a weird way movie.
Right.
But I thought that was really well done. I thought the performances were really great. And I like that it didn't spoon feed you information. It just kind of lets you observe and listen into these conversations and get little snippets of what was going on in the dynamics. And you kind of piece it together yourself as it went along. So I thought it was really effective. And I thought, while there wasn't a super plotty plot, there wasn't a lot going on in terms of like big action. I thought overall it was really well done and interesting. How about you, Matty?
I loved it. This sort of thing is my bag, baby. It felt like a first-person video game. It felt kind of like a horror video game.
Yeah.
And I really liked being like as I watched it, being the ghost.
Yeah.
It made me realize that is kind of like a secret fantasy of mine, is to be a ghost.
Yeah.
In a totally not creepy way, I swear. But it was, I from the first shot, I was sold. Like when the camera starts moving around and you realize like you're the ghost and you're going to be the ghost the whole time, which you get from the trailers pretty much. But just once you start getting into the movie, I loved it. I got chills a bunch at the beginning. This movie made me cry. And I agree that I think it sold itself as being something it's not, which does a disservice to the movie. I definitely consider it a horror movie, but I think it's much more of a drama. I think they should have billed it more as a drama, like a drama horror, not like a scary horror, like a dramatic horror film.
Yeah, I mean, it is a ghost story. So it's more in that kind of gothic tradition almost of like, just, the sadness and, just like, it is about supernatural things, but it's not going for the scares necessarily.
Not going for the spooks and scares.
Yeah, it's going for the devastation and themes of
the sadness of death, the sadness of grief. I told my mom that she might even like this movie. Yeah. So, and she's not a person that watches horror movies at all.
Same. I told not your mom, but I told.
I also told your mom.
You be my mom?
We all told Hannah's mom.
No, but I told my coworker. She doesn't really like scary movies either, and I was talking about it. And I said you might actually, one, be able to handle it, and two, really like it because it's an interesting experiment, and there's interesting drama going on in the movie beyond just the intent to just scare you. So I think it's worth checking out if you're not really a horror movie person even.
Definitely. I will say, I think that there was some of it, like the dialogue, that was a bit cheesy, but that just endeared the movie more to me.
Do you have an example that you can remember?
Oh, I mean, a lot of the parents' dialogue I found cheesy.
Okay.
It just
between each other or with the children, like with their kids?
Between each other, I think, and like when the dad's on the phone. Just it felt very play, like watching a play, and I feel like a lot of times when they do that in a movie, it feels cheesy, but I liked it. I can see how some people might be averse to that, but I loved that. All right, now let's get balls deep into spoiler territory.
Warning, you are now entering spoiler territory.
So we will be spoiling this movie, and I think we all recommend watching it. So you might want to pause this and go watch it real quick. I assume when this episode comes out, it'll be on demand, because it'll be in theaters for like 2 weeks and then immediately
it'll go
on demand. So rent it or buy it, whatever floats your boat. So let's talk about this plot. So we start the movie looking out a window, which will end up being very important because we keep returning to this window. And it is in an empty house, and we walk around this empty house. Do y'all have any thoughts on the opening?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right away, I initially was a little seasick from the movie.
Yes, I was one of those. I was thinking that I might be like one of those people that would have barfed at the Blair Witch Project because there was so much motion that I was like, whoa.
Motion was pretty smooth, but it's very consistent. It never kind of locks down on purpose. So you are just kind of floating, and the camera never stops moving. So initially it took me a second to kind of adjust to it and get my sea legs in a way.
Right.
But I enjoyed it from the start. I right away was kind of clocking that, this is all one long take. Whether or not they're cheating on that, but made to look like one take at least for long stretches of time between the cuts. So I thought that was really cool. And the way that, it kind of effortlessly went through the entire house in this opening scene, I thought was really neat. Kind of give you the geography of the house. And
I liked that you knew the geography of the house. Like you knew exactly where everything was. Did any of you guys find this movement it was smooth yet sort of frantic and interesting to me, which I mean, I don't know if we're going to get to the spoiler immediately, but
let's save it for the end.
But I wondered if this was maybe the first time the spirit realized that they were a spirit. And it's
doing interesting things, the camera. I don't know how right away, but it's kind of turning away from things that you traditionally would just like frame dead on. So I thought that was really interesting that, again, it's kind of turning the camera into the ghost, into a character.
Right.
Reacting to what it's witnessing. It's not just watching it. And I don't. Well, we can talk about that later. But it's just interesting because I watched this movie about a week after I watched Nickel Boys, the movie.
Which is also point of view.
Which is also first person. Kind of the camera is the character, and I just thought, unrelated, obviously, and just kind of happenstance that I watched these two movies back to back. But an interesting. Just thing that I saw two movies so close together that use that technique and use that as a device.
We can go back over everything in the movie again once we come to the twist at the end. Because it totally recontextualizes the entire movie.
That's basically all I have my notes about. I was like, this really is recontextualized because of the twist at the end.
Well, moving on, should we, at this point, the family enters. Well, first, one person enters. We got Uncle
Jams.
Yeah, or what's
Discussing as they experienced it.
I'm so Julia.
Yeah. Julia Fox enters as a real estate agent.
You get my Uncut Jams reference, right?
I do get your Uncut.
Okay,
I was Sam Softy's muse and Uncut Jams.
So she enters, and then shortly after, she gets the right away, and then 2 seconds later, the family shows up, and they start touring the house and kind of showing them around.
They do not tour for long, though. That is the shortest little decision on a house that I've ever seen.
Well, the mom says that to the dad, who is hesitant, the mom says this is the only house available in the school district that has the best swim team for our son, Tyler, who is a fantastic swimmer. And this is when we start to get... Yeah. This is when we start to get
my hot take this
an idea
episode.
of how the mom feels about her son.
Yeah. Absolutely in love. They are
Right.
she's hashtag boy mom.
Mother boy.
Mother boy. Yeah. It's my background
That's
today
your background
on Zoom.
today.
Yeah, right away it was making me laugh, the vibes of the mom being so into her son and doing everything for him.
So here, because like Hannah said, this is a very short house showing, and then presumably they buy it. And I like the cuts, in between each scene are long periods of black.
Yeah, it goes right to black and stays on it for a second or two.
I think they're different lengths. I couldn't tell. I didn't count, but I felt like some black pauses were longer than others.
Mm.
And I think that those pauses are like the spirit blacking out and then waking back up. Because we come back and we're in the empty house, but there's a crew of people painting it and getting it ready.
There's definitely little time jumps between each gap, typically. There's sometimes not, but typically it's not. This movie doesn't take place in real time.
But I got the impression that it was real time for the ghost. That's how I read it. So that each black period, the ghost is not experiencing anything in that black period, and
we're
just
only
comes
seeing
back.
Clips. Yeah, we're only seeing these moments.
Yeah.
Should we talk about who the family is?
Well, first I want to talk about an interesting thing that happens with the painters.
Oh yeah, okay.
They this is the first introduction of people who are sensitive to ghosts, because there's one worker while they're painting the house that won't go into the room that we're in as the presence. And I just thought that's interesting because it'll come up later that there are people who are sensitive, and this is our first experience with one of those people.
Right.
Yeah, as the movie goes on, people start to look dead on to camera in a way that's are they seeing us? Are they seeing us as the presence? So yeah, that's always interesting about who has a sixth sense and who doesn't in the movie.
Right.
Let's talk about the family.
So you have the father character played by I don't have names because I'm bad, but he's from This Is Us is the main thing I knew him from. I think it's Chris. Oh my god, it's embarrassing.
The character name is Chris. Yes.
Okay, and I think the actor though too is also Chris.
You are correct, Chris Sullivan. Yes.
Yeah, Chris Sullivan I thought was really great.
He was good.
I thought was giving a good dad performance. So you have him, and he's clearly the relationship's kind of strained between him and his wife, who's Lucy Liu.
Yep.
She's very business. Also, I want to note that this month is Bad Mom Month on the podcast, because between Wolfman and this, we have 2 weeks back to back of
we have
bad moms.
alienated moms. Yeah.
Let's see if what's the next one we're doing.
What's Companion? Is that next?
Yeah, let's see if Companion has a bad mom.
Bad Mom Month.
We'll see.
Yeah, so we meet them. So yeah, like we said, the son is kind of older son is, probably a junior or senior in high school was the impression you get, and trying to get a scholarship or get into the top school, and they moved to this new house for swimming,
and
to be on the kind of the
wants
all-star
to be popular
team.
and fit.
Yeah. And then you have kind of the younger daughter who's a couple years younger, and
it's just gone through a horrible
some kind of tragic
thing with her friend died of a drug overdose,
apparently.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, and she's obviously grieving, but the mom doesn't care. It doesn't seem like mom knows how to talk to her.
Really doesn't want a daughter.
Yeah. Doesn't seem
just
like
cares about the son.
Cares about the daughter at all.
I had a moment where it doesn't end up this is true, but I had a moment where I thought they might have moved into the friend's house.
That's what I thought too.
Did you have that moment? Yeah.
Yes, I had the exact same thought, because there's a moment where we're in the closet as the presents, and Chloe's on her bed, and she kind of looks up at the camera and sees something and walks up to us and says her friend's name, Nadia. She's like, Nadia? And
it is trying to lead you that way, that it could be the friend.
Yeah, so I'm like, did they move into her friend's house? Because that would be weird.
Yeah.
That would be so
weird.
weird. But that is not the case.
No, but it's also funny because you don't put it past the mom that that's what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that she's that big of a mom that she's like, oh, this house opened up in the neighborhood we want. We'll move into it, even though that's my daughter's best friend's dead house. Like,
don't put
I didn't put it past her. I thought, oh, that's really messed up that the mom would do that. But yeah, that.
So I want to note. I want to note the one scream from Hannah we got in the movie.
Oh yeah, Hannah's scream report.
Okay, Hannah's scream report. Don't remember it. What was the scream?
There's a really cool scene where the presence picks up books off of Chloe's bed while she's taking a shower and puts them on her desk. And then Chloe comes in and is like, looks at the bed and is confused because her books aren't there. And then sees that the books moved and screams, and that made Hannah scream.
Aww.
Yeah.
So that's our Hannah scream.
That was our Hannah scream.
Cute, actually, that the ghost was helpful.
Yeah.
I thought, this is like a
sweet.
Casper. This is a very friendly ghost.
Friendly ghost.
I was ready for it to turn evil, though.
You thought? You thought it was going to go
I was ready
bad?
for it. I didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I was ready.
I was very trusting the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
this
I was
is
like,
a benevolent
ghost is friend.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, ghost friend.
I hope neither of you ever live in a haunted house, because I assure you that is not always the case.
You don't think any ghost would be friendly?
I think that if ghosts were real, and if we believe movie logic and book logic, that they would try to trick you into thinking they're friendly before they do terrible things to you. Is this when we should talk about Ryan?
I think this is about when he enters.
Yeah,
so we're introduced to this friend that comes over for the Tyler, the son character.
The brother of Chloe.
Yes, Chloe's our main character, I would say, as much as this movie has one.
I think she's
our point of view. Yeah.
Well, no. We'll talk about whose point of view we are at the end of the end of the podcast. So Ryan comes over, and he's like a little fuckboy blonde. Who's Chloe is obviously into. And then I feel like I don't remember if the scenes are back to back, but she meets, like, Ryan comes over to hang out with Tyler, and then Tyler comes back into the house later with Chloe. It's just them alone, and they go up to her room. So
they're pretty close together, I feel like.
Yeah.
Hannah, what was your read on Ryan right away?
Hated him.
You really? Right away?
Yeah, right away.
You thought it was bad news?
I had bad lady intuition about that man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that boy.
So Chloe tries to get Ryan to drink, and he won't, right? Then they go get high.
Yeah, and meanwhile, kind of in the background, we do kind of get more information that her friend died of an overdose, it seems like.
And the parents seem kind of doing heroin, and then I looked at like what was in the foil, and I was like, oh, it's a brownie.
Yeah, it's a pot. Yeah,
oh my God. Yeah, no, I knew it was a brownie. That's funny you thought that was heroin.
I had a moment where I was like, what are they doing there?
What are they doing? And then I was like, oh, it's a brownie. Okay.
Yeah, well, there have been people dying of drug overdoses, so it makes sense that maybe that's heroin or some drug that could easily kill you.
Yeah. It was something bad, but it was.
And the parents are concerned for Chloe, that they're like, should we test her? That's kind of in the background.
Yeah, well, she's super like depressed, and she won't talk to people.
Yeah,
but she'll talk to Ryan, and Ryan consoles her as she cries on his shoulder.
Yeah, and it does the nice guy act.
And gives a creepy fucking monologue.
Yeah,
that if somebody told me that they never felt like they never had control, and then told me that I'm in control, I would be very wary of that person.
And that was it for me.
Yeah,
I was
he's like, we don't do anything until you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're
Which
a
seems like
teenage
the right
boy.
thing to do, right?
Yeah,
But
But the way he says it is very
And
like
the way
he just
says it
gave a whole
creepy.
thing about how he never has control, and so it's obvious this person wants control, and they're saying, "But I don't have control in this situation. You do." Super creepy.
And is this the point too where he says something like, "I've never had somebody die. Like, what's it like to know someone who's dead?" They kind of have that conversation at this point.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he's very interested and fascinated with
death
her dead friend
and
in
her
a
dead
weird way.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're about to do it, but the presence turns to the closet and uses some powers to like collapse a shelf, and everything falls down in the closet and kills the mood.
yeah.
So good job, presence.
Yay. Well
He's
done,
cock
presence.
blocking.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, because this movie is very hard to talk about chronologically.
Yeah, it's a series of scenes essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's something going on with the mom. She has committed some sort of fraud. She
Yes.
she confesses to it drunkenly to her son, but doesn't say. She just
What
says that
she's
she
done.
did something bad.
I'll do anything for you, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes. Yeah.
And then at one point we see her deleting emails, and Chris, her husband, is talking to somebody on the phone asking if there's a couple and one of them does something bad, does the other one get in trouble? And then, what if they're separated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something going on, but we never really learn what it is. And I've seen online people say like, oh, she's committing fraud or stealing from her company or
Insider
like that.
trading.
And
or-
at first I thought it was maybe a Operation Varsity Blues thing that the Full House mom or the full Aunt Becky and lying to get her son into college. That was the first thing I thought. That was my first thought, but I don't necessarily
think
think that's what it was.
specifically have to do with her work because towards the end, her and her husband go on a business trip, and the husband says, "Is blank going to be there?"
We should
so
talk
that
to him about
we
your
should talk to him
exposure.
about what's going on.
Yeah. It ends up something about work, but we never really get. Which I liked. I liked that about this
that
movie.
too.
Yeah.
That it's not again spoon feeding you.
No, you had to
exposition.
kind of think about maybe what she was doing. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly telling you like she is committing fraud, she is insider trading, she is deleting email. It was just very subtle, and I liked that a lot.
And also, I think interesting that it almost doesn't matter by the end of the movie. Like, it's almost a red herring. It's almost a
Right.
misdirect that we're so focused on that
Yeah,
we
we
miss
think
what
that
the movie's actually what it's about.
that's the sword of Damocles that that's
the shoe that's going to drop.
Yeah, that's the shoe that's going to drop, but it never does.
That's the shoe of Damocles.
The shoe of Damocles.
So we come up to a scene which is, besides the end, one of the most disturbing scenes in the movie. We, as the presence, awaken in Chloe's closet and see her having sex with Ryan. And then I liked this because we see it for a second, and then the camera, as the presence, kind of like turns to a coat and just like looks at the
tilts
coat.
away. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Oopsies.
But then they finish up, and Chloe goes into the bathroom, and Tyler goes, or not Tyler, Tyler's the brother. Chris goes to get them orange
Ryan.
juice. Ryan, Chris, these are so generic names. Okay.
Douchebag.
Let me take that again. Take two,
Sex pest.
Yeah. Ryan, the sex pest, goes to get them both orange juice, and we see him put something from like a little baggie into her drink. We don't know what it is. I read online that it's a date rape drug. I don't think it is, because I think at the end he says what it is, and it is actually like fentanyl or something. It's
to make her OD, essentially.
yeah, well, yeah,
of, or- yeah.
to make her like pass out and have drugs in her system.
GHB can do that. GHB
Okay.
can kill you. That's a date rape drug. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a date rape.
Whatever
rape
it is,
drug.
it's bad news.
Yeah.
But
It ain't good.
Yeah, and I thought that it specifically is a drug that someone would take recreationally to be blamed for if that person happened to die for some reason. But it seems like he's going to date rape her. So they just had sex, and it seems like, and he even says, like, when she gets back into the room after he's spiked her drink, I could go again, yeah. Which, yeah. And then,
fuck you, buddy.
And then the presence knocks the orange juice off of the side table that's been spiked, so Chloe cannot drink it.
So another win for the presence.
Another win for the presence, yeah.
For our friendly ghost. I said, hell yeah. This ghost is an ally, and I love him. And I love them, whoever they are.
Ally.
Hashtag ally.
Ally.
What did you all, because we just talked about how the presence keeps kind of returning to that closet. Yep. What did you take that to be, or what was your read on that, of how it keeps returning to this kind of corner of the room?
It just seems like an easy hiding spot and a place to disappear.
Okay.
And it was obviously obsessed with Chloe's room. Chloe's room was it's
like home base.
It's home base.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting.
Always looking out that window.
Yeah, and it's always, following her mostly. It kind of every once in a while kind of peeks in on the mom or the dad or the brother, but only really briefly. Like hardly ever really cares about them and what they're doing. It's really following Chloe.
It's really paying a lot of attention to Chloe,
which leads us again to think that it might. Oh, it's Nadia. It's the dead friend.
Might be Nadia. Yeah.
Well, I also thought it might have a crush on Chloe. I did kind of think that Nadia was a distraction, that it wasn't Nadia. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of thought that, because it's helping Chloe. It's having her not have sex with Ryan. It's knocking the spiked drink off of the table. So I thought maybe it has a crush on her.
Kind of Casper vibes again.
Isn't there also a part right in there where she kind of goes and looks into the closet and the spirit blows in her face?
Yes, there's a moment where
God, that scared me. Did love that. Yeah, that was really creepy and evocative.
So the next scene I want to talk about, I don't know chronologically if this is it, but Ryan had mentioned to Chloe that Tyler was planning on doing something bad to a girl. And we get to a scene where Tyler is just bragging about this awful thing he did to a girl with another guy, to his mom.
Mother.
His whole family, it's the funniest story, and the mom's into it.
Yeah.
Mom's that's so funny, and boys will be boys. It was very weird.
Very kind of, permissive.
Yeah, telling the story like it's a fun story.
About how he got a nude picture from this girl, basically. Yeah,
or a topless.
And I don't love that.
But it's very
it's just horrible. Just disgusting.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting dynamic, and clearly
the dad is disgusted by it. Chris hates
what the hell's wrong with you? Yeah,
but he keeps talking to no one because nobody's listening to him, and then he keeps trying to get Tyler to stop saying fuck. Because Tyler keeps saying fuck, and he's like, stop saying that, but he doesn't, and the mom's not. The mom's just ignoring him.
Yeah, the parents are very kind of allied to one child. Yeah, it's very much the dad and Chloe versus mom.
Well, there is
Tyler.
one terrible child and one not terrible child.
We're just checking. Which one do you think is which, Matty?
Chloe's the terrible one, and Tyler is perfect. He's a perfect angel little boy.
He's a swimmer. He's a star.
He's our next Michael Phelps.
I did like that Michael Phelps poster he had on the wall.
He did have a Michael Phelps poster on the wall.
But this is when they all know that the presence exists, because when Tyler is telling the story, the presence seems to get upset, goes up to Tyler's room, and starts knocking all his trophies off the walls. And just trashing their room.
That's right.
And then the whole family looks on, and they're like, this is not normal.
Yeah. And what do they do about it? This is getting to my favorite scene.
They call the realtor, who confirms that nobody has died in the house. So, there's no reason it should be haunted. And then the realtor refers them to a psychic.
Yeah, and isn't the psychic related to her in some way? Like a sister, or cousin,
somebody
or something?
that she works with. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't
think they're related.
No.
Well, fine. Shit all over my ideas.
Okay, no, maybe they're related.
No, fine.
You know what? I think they might be related.
Aren't we all related when you think about it,
when you think about it? Why? What was your theory?
No, I don't have a theory. I just like that the scene that's coming up of the psychic shows up with her like meek little skinny husband.
Skinny husband, yeah.
I loved that guy, especially when he's asking for money at the
money.
end.
So good. It's so good. He's kind of her like salesperson in a way. He's like, okay, listen, this is she kind of, you got to give her space and you got to let her explore the space, and
also she might have to call out from work, so money, please.
Yeah, he basically it's like, hey, look, this really affected her. She's gonna have to take a couple days off work.
I believed her.
Do you think she is a real psychic? I mean,
I think the movie thinks she's a real psychic.
She's a real psychic too.
Because she sees the presence and she predicts what.
She says something about a window.
Yeah,
yeah.
She comes back later and says
that. Yeah,
dreamed about the window that won't open, and that's why she thinks the presence is there.
And she looks in the mirror and freaks out too. So
she doesn't freak out, but it's obvious that she sees something.
She's affected. Yeah.
We keep returning to this old-fashioned mirror, we should say.
Yeah.
There's a built-in.
This is when they really draw attention to it, because she says the thing about, old mirrors are great because they've seen so much, or they see so much. I don't know. It's
something like that.
Yeah, right.
And she also makes kind of a note about what it's made. It's like, because it's like silver nitrate or something, right? It's like some other material than normal modern glasses.
I don't know about all this witchcraft that you do, Evan.
Well, I wish you paid attention to the movie. I'm just kidding. But they definitely call attention to the mirror at this point.
Right.
But I just really like the psychic character. I thought it was just a fun little touch. And I always like the scene where the psychic shows up and does or doesn't, sense anything.
I also like
is clean.
This child is clean. I really also like that there was she was like a normal lady. She looked normal. She wasn't overly glamorous. It was a good cast, I think, for somebody that looked like they worked a 9-to-5 and was just pretty tired and had this gift to offer and would do things for her friends and family. It definitely looked like a person that needed.
It felt lived in, especially with the husband too.
Yeah,
you can kind of, in a real brief scene of not much, you really get their whole
thing.
Vibe.
Yeah.
You're like, I get these people. Yeah, 100%.
Give me that spin-off.
I love my medium wife.
Yeah.
It's very.
I love my
psychic
wife.
Give me that HGTV show. I love my medium wife. So let's get into basically the climax of this movie, where the two parents are going off on a trip, and Ryan and Chloe make a plan to get together and basically have sex while her parents are gone.
Right.
And what are you going to do about Tyler, the brother? And Ryan says, I'll take care of that.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
We don't like that.
Yeah, we don't like that. So the parents leave, and Tyler and Ryan go to the house to hang out, and Chloe's upstairs, and Ryan pulls out his old trick and drugs Tyler.
Yeah.
So that he falls asleep.
Trick. He's got one trick.
However,
he's going to pull that out every time.
Did you notice that he drugs Tyler with something different than
it's like
what
a pill? It's like he splits a pill.
He opens the pill up. Yeah, he opens the gel cap up and pours it in, rather than there's a
baggie of something that he gives to Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler falls asleep, Ryan goes upstairs, and Chloe is basically like, you know what, I decided I don't want to do this. But then he starts having a sob story.
He cries. He
cries about it.
Oh,
because he's a little
I'm such an asshole. I can't believe, but in a way that it's making her feel guilty. It's very I'm
so
you're right. I was wrong. But,
I'm so alone.
Oh, I'm just so lonely, and I can't believe I did this. And it's fine. We'll just talk. But here's a drink. We'll just talk.
Very
have a drink
manipulative.
Of this.
Very manipulative. And
that was I really like the tension of the drink in the scene of just he keeps almost handing it to her. She's almost going to take it. A lot of tension there of we know exactly what's going to happen. But they keep teasing you that she's going to take a drink or not.
Yeah, because she has a spiked drink, and then she does. She drinks the whole thing down. And then she starts to pass out, and then Ryan starts giving her a little confession that he is in fact a serial killer.
Yeah, he goes full Dexter on her.
Yep.
Well, Dexter was a good guy. He was a good serial killer. This is a bad serial killer because you think he's going to date rape her.
Yeah.
Until he starts explaining, like, I gave you this drug, and I think he even says that you should be aware.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't move.
Horrifying.
But you can feel this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then he starts covering her face with saran wrap, which is 0.005 centimeters thin. He lets us know. And she starts suffocating, and he explains that he did this to her friend who died, as well as another girl who I don't think we mentioned that there was. There was another girl who had died from a supposed drug overdose, and Ryan's revealing that he murdered them both
the whole time.
Right.
Yeah,
he drugged them and suffocated them, which is what he's doing to Chloe.
And then he's doing kind of he's like playing with her. He's like toying with her, basically. He's using this wrap to put it over her mouth and nose, and then he'll pull it away real quick so she takes a gasp of air, and then it's real creepy stuff. It was real effective,
creepy.
I thought.
Yeah, and then the presence starts trying to wake Chloe up by vibrating. So the screen vibrates.
I did like that kind of bass note vibrating that would happen every time something was going wrong with the presence.
Clearly this present doesn't have full ability. Like it's trying to kind of figure out its ability as it goes on.
Right.
It can't directly do things. It kind of in certain moment has the ability to knock down a shelf or whatever, but it's clearly doesn't have. It's kind of a helpless observer for most of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And you really feel that here where it really can't do anything directly to wake her up.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it try to wake her up before with no avail.
Mm-hmm.
And here it tries to wake her up as she's dying, and it can't. So it runs downstairs to Tyler and ends up shoving itself in his ear to wake him up.
And it works.
And it works. And Tyler wakes up and is immediately like, where's Chloe? Chloe? And then runs up to her room and sees what Tyler is doing and immediately tackles him out of the window, and they both fall to their death.
Yeah.
It cuts to them. Yeah. It leans down, the camera tilts. You see them just on their back. They hit their back and on the ground.
They did not make it.
Nope.
And then the family moves out, so
we get one last little scene.
Scene.
The house is empty again. We're kind of back to where we started.
Where we started, and watching
a lot sadder.
Quietly again, much sadder.
Yeah, and then the family comes in to do one last pass the house or whatever, and the mom looks into the mirror and sees the presence, which is revealed to be
her son, Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, we should mention that one of the things I liked is the psychic. One of the things she says is, this thing doesn't experience time the way we do.
Yes.
Time is all out of order. It just experiences what it experiences, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big hint that.
Well, I kept waiting for the movie to be out of order, because when she said that, I'm like, everything seemed linear so far.
Me too, yes. I had the same thought.
Then we don't get anything really out of order until the end, when it's revealed that the ghost is from a person who dies at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it kind of makes this loop, this perfect loop almost, But yeah, we see Tyler in the mirror, and then kind of this beautiful shot of it.
Mm-hmm.
The mom's crying. Obviously, the mom's breaks down and is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it. He's gone." And I think, and then we pull back.
Well, I think she says, "You died to save her." I think she says something like that. So, she realizes that the whole time the presence has been her son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the presence flies up to heaven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Its business is done. It did what it came to do.
So let's go back through the entire movie, knowing that the presence is Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you
I'm just kidding. We're not going to do it.
But we can talk about broad strokes, because I actually didn't.
Yeah.
you saying the thing about, I'd forgotten the part where it goes up and trashes Tyler's room, and that is much more interesting in that context of
right. It's
who it is. I forgot that scene, and I was like, oh, he's mad at himself for being such an asshole.
Right.
Well, he doesn't know it's himself, right? Presumably.
Do you think he knows who he is? I think. Do you think the presence knows that
who he is? I think he knows who he is.
Well, the psychic says that the presence might not know who it is, or who, like, you know, what its history is, and that it might be confused. So that's where I'm getting that from.
Yeah, I can see it almost either way, though. That he knows who he is. You know, that
I think if anything, he would have learned he would slowly be learning during the movie. Like
oh,
I don't think he would. It would know until much later in the film,
right? I don't know. I kind of thought he knew who he was throughout the whole movie, but was confused, didn't know that he was dead at the beginning.
Yeah, I think we'd have to watch the movie again to really be able to clock stuff like that. Because I mean, I think it deserves a second watch. I really, really do.
Yeah.
And it's like The Sixth Sense. It's worth watching again with the knowledge that you get at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I like that there was like they were like mistaking this protective force of her brother for Nadia, and that the sibling bond is made kind of apparent there in the afterlife. Like you were just saying, he feels terrible about it seems like he's getting perspective on his behavior as a spirit, and is able to see. I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like this kind of he's sort of omniscient now that he's dead, not omnipotent, but at least omniscient, and there are things he can't affect, like the relationship between his parents. He's kind of just watching them and unable to repair what happens to them. I really enjoyed a lot of the kind of voyeuristic aspect of the movie, knowing that it was
did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I'm a voyeur. No,
I just I like the idea of haunting yourself. I think that's a really interesting concept. And do you guys saw the reason I brought it up earlier? Spoiler is Haunting of Hill House, or whatever those order of those words are. The series. Did you guys watch the series?
No, but I think you just spoiled it for us.
Well, there's a thing in particular about kind of haunting yourself that I think was really effective in that. I just find a really interesting concept of like.
Yeah.
Well, I know how the book ends, but I doubt it's what happens in the show.
No, it's very different. It's very different. But I just this idea of the scariest thing is that you have to kind of rewatch your life in a way.
That is horrifying.
That is
you can't
scary.
Really affected, but also almost this inevitability of if he does know that he's Tyler, he knows that he has to wake himself up, so he runs upstairs and pushes both of them out the window. Like he has to close the loop in a weird way,
right? Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting idea and a really creepy idea that, you know, in order to move on, you have to do this thing. You can't change it. You can't stop it. You just have to sacrifice yourself, and you have to be the conduit to wake yourself up to cause your own sacrifice, essentially, to save your sister.
Right.
The psychic mentions that the presence needs to like figure out why it's there. So do you think do you think he knew from the beginning what he had to do, or he like figured it out right at the end?
Yeah, I could see that he figured it out at the end.
It seems like he figured it out at the end, because it's like he wakes up, sees what's happening, and is like, oh, this is what I need to do. At least that's what it seemed like to me.
Are there any final thoughts you guys want to give?
Again, I really had a good time.
Same.
It's a movie I want to kind of explore again, to revisit. So it's a movie I thought about a lot afterwards, which I think is always a plus. You know, when you leave a theater and you
big plus when you're
thinking about it. I think that's always the movie did its job.
I thought so too, because me and Matthew and Emily didn't talk at all after the movie was over. We were just kind of like,
well, I was crying.
Wow.
So,
I know. And
can you talk about that actually, Matty? What specifically got you?
Yeah, what got you to cry?
When it was revealed that it was the brother, it still makes me emotional. I kind of choked up when we got to it in this episode. It's just, I don't know, that like really I thought was profoundly beautiful.
Yeah, and I think
I'm getting a little choked up right now.
No, I think, and I think really well done in a way where, again, they aren't close at all. And if anything, they're actually
They hate each other.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
They say that they hate each other.
Absolutely. And they're so night and day, and they're so
They're
at
two different
odds.
people so much, and and
that is kind of beautiful.
they seem to heal their relationship almost through this kind of big act of love that he shows for his sister in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually got us all tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know if you guys wanted to come with me to Hannah's Costume Corner.
Oh, I'd love to visit.
Hannah's Costume Corner.
All right, let's go. Okay, so this is a fun costume corner. Marcy Rogers did the costumes, who also did the costumes for Black Klansman. And I did love the costumes in that. It was a period piece, so there were great period costumes in that piece. I thought it was wonderful. Okay, Lucy Liu serving business cunt for the whole fucking movie.
Business cunt.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed her silk shirt and slacks combo with the presumably Dior belt. Always a rich mom classic.
Yeah, she was very kind of Orange County mom. I don't think it takes place there, but that was the vibes it was giving me. It was very Orange County, drop my kids off at after school programs.
In my Porsche. Yeah. Exactly.
And the dad was more like kind of like normal average Joe.
Normal average dad. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the men in many of these movies because their costumes are just so blah. Like in a scary movie, I a lot of the times the men aren't really where I'm looking at the costumes. It's a lot of the time at the
It's almost invisible work. Which is always harder.
Yeah.
The Oscars have this kind of not problem, but kind of bias too, where something that's a period piece will get nominated, but because it's more showy, but there is thought and work that goes into a modern movie, right?
And you could tell that there was because she had a color palette. It was very muted. It was blacks, creams, grays.
Choices were being made.
Yeah. We only see her in corporate wear or Gap casual kind of stuff, like that tortoise shell sweater she wears mid-movie, kind of like a Ruana sort of construction. I really enjoyed seeing that as like her comfort clothes, which are very put together for comfort clothes. Like I'm in my comfy clothes and I'm wearing a fucking My Melody and Kuromi sweater.
Love it.
So, I also really enjoyed Lucy Liu's sheath dresses. She has such a body. Like she is so gorgeous and can just really, you can put a paper bag on that woman and it would look gorgeous. Julia Fox, our queen, her outfit in her one little cameo that she had sort of was incredible. Just red hair with that emerald green shirt and matching pants. I think so beautiful, really striking, really like that. Also, her makeup was fire. I wonder if she did it herself. Yeah. No one? Okay. There's a memed out thing where she has like crazy makeup on at this red carpet thing, and they said, "Who did your makeup?" She goes, "I actually did it myself." Yeah. And it looks like shit. It's so great. And so I also enjoyed Chloe's knitted striped sweater with the bulky yarn. Looked so cozy and also looked like it was hand knit, though it probably wasn't. I don't know. It could have been a Hope McCulley, which does mean it would be hand knit, but I could knit that in like 4 hours, I bet. Do you want to know the knit drama about Hope McCulley? Probably not.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Actually, yeah.
It's so this Hope McCulley is a bespoke, not even bespoke. It's a luxury brand of quote unquote slow fashion where they employ knitters to knit like very chunky roving wool sweaters. and knits using bulky roving wool pill quickly and do not last for years like many hand knits like I'm holding in my hand right now. This one will last for like generations. Like it's going to be...
They can't see that, Hannah. This is an audio format.
Thank you. I'm holding up a red cape that I'm knitting as I talk to these people.
Fairies, thank you very much.
As I talk to these fairies. How could I be so offensive? But it's unsustainable, but it's billed as a slow fashion brand. And they're charging, $800 for a necklace of a chain crocheted, like just the first thing that you learn how to do when you crochet in bulky roving yarn. And then they're charging $500 for those as like earrings or as a necklace. It's really so a lot of people. And then she came out with her own yarn, and people did not like that.
The quality of it was bad.
Oh, the quality sucked, and she was overcharging, and it just was apparent that it was an afterthought, really. So that's the drama about Hope McCulley, and that is my costume corner.
Love it.
Wonderful. Well, let's end the show as we always do, and I'll pass it over to Evan, and he can lead us through our Muppet casting.
All right. That was my...
That was just different enough.
Yeah, that's what I was going
get
for.
away with it.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. All right, it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to cast the Muppets in this horror film tonight. Let's do some Muppet casting. Thank you. Round of applause to everybody. All right. So let us start with Rebecca. Let's start with the Lucy Liu mom character. Did you guys have a Muppet casting for her?
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely agree. She's absolutely fierce. She would rock a business suit really well, I feel like. She's a businesswoman. She knows what she wants.
She's a business bitch.
Yes, absolutely.
She only loves Tiny Tim.
Yeah. Well, with that though, because we're casting her as Miss Piggy, Rebecca, the mom, then I did cast Tyler as Kermit because they're in love. And I think that's...
Okay. I see where you're coming from. Because you would think it would be Chris, the husband.
No, absolutely not.
Kermit.
No, you would think so, because they're a couple. But no, the real chemistry in the movie is between Rebecca and Tyler.
Right. You're not wrong. You're 100%
so Tyler
right.
has to be Kermit.
So who's Chris? Who's the dad?
For me, I said for Chris, Fozzie. Kind of nice, giving me dad vibes. Maybe cracking a dad joke or two. A teddy bear, literally. That was the vibes I got from Chris. So I'm going Fozzie for Chris. And then for Chloe, I'm going to go with Janice. She kind of... I think literally rocks a belly shirt at one point, which I think Janice does. So similar fashion sense. Not afraid of little pot or little drugs, little drinking, a little party girl. So I think that fits.
What about Rapey Ryan?
This is the one I had the hardest time for, because I don't want any of our Muppet friends to commit sexual assault.
Yeah,
or be serial killers.
Yeah. So I think this might be my one human cast.
Yeah, I said that too.
Yeah, so you cast a human as Ryan.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, maybe Kevin Spacey type. Just a real piece of shit.
Someone who has actually committed assault in real life.
Yeah, just Bill Cosby maybe. Get him out of jail.
Yeah, that would work.
He has the life experience. And then finally, this is a very small cast again, which is always
wonderful,
kind of nice.
Yeah, love
that
it.
Makes it easy to cast. So our last two are, actually, there's three. I didn't do it, but Julia Fox, the realtor. Do you guys have anybody for them?
The realtor? No, I don't.
Yeah. Maybe
no.
throw Camilla in here. That's always good. Camilla could do it. Kind of bok her way around the house at the first scene.
Yeah.
And then, the last two are my favorite characters, Lisa the psychic and Carl, the psychic husband.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Statler and Waldorf.
Oh, that'd be good, too. That's pretty good. That's good. Any couple. I went with Beaker and Honeydew, specifically Beaker as psychic, and then Honeydew as the doting husband that's kind of explaining
that's sweet.
his deal. I think he kind of speaks for
Honeydew, the guy with glasses, the Muppet with glasses, explaining Beaker, the Muppet who meeps.
Just meeps.
Basically like translating.
Yeah, that was how I envisioned the scene. Also, Beaker gets really scared a lot, and I feel like he would really have a good reaction. About like starting to see the presence or sense it and freak out, and then Honeydew calmly has to explain what he's saying.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love it.
And that's Muppet casting,
and that's our show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And as always, bye. Thank you for listening to Scary Fairies, a podcast where 3 fairies discuss scary movies. You can write to the fairies at scaryfairiespod@gmail.com. Tell us what you think of the show, or ask us a question and we may read it on air. You can find the fairies on Instagram at Scary Fairies Pod. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in listening to the Scary Fairies discuss scary movies. See you next week in the forest.